Hello and welcome back to Mama Magma Yoga. This is your meditation practice for the week of November 15th. Thank you for being here. It's lovely to see you. This meditation, we're focusing on listening to the wisdom of our sorrow. So we all have pain from the past, something that has happened to us, or some things that have impacted our lives, that have caused our hearts to be heavy, that have caused us to carry around sorrow with us. So I want to help you access that sorrow, because oftentimes we bury it, we tell ourselves that we don't need to look at it, and we sort of put it away. And, just don't bother me right now. I've got to get on with life. I've got to heal. I've got to do all of this stuff. But if we don't allow ourselves to feel that sorrow, if we don't allow ourselves to process it and to release it, then we can't really learn from it. We can't really heal from it. And we can't move on and come more into our wholeness. So the point is to become more whole, more of who we actually are. And these places of sorrow are not something to be shunned. They're not something to be ashamed of. And they're not something to run away from. And no, we don't want to be caught in it. That's not the point. But we often think that if we allow ourselves to access and to really feel what we're feeling, that we will get caught there, and that will be the end of it, and we won't be able to see beyond it or grow beyond it or ever recover from it. But sorrow has a lot to teach us. It has a lot to add to our lives, and we need to allow ourselves to feel it, to allow it to move through the body, so that we can heal and we can move forward and we can listen to its wisdom. So today I invite you to come on down to the ground like I am. We're going to sit up nice and tall. I've got a blanket with me. I'm going to use this near the end of the class. I've used it to sit up on so that my sits bones are raised a little bit. I've also got a bolster with me that I would like to use at the end of the meditation. So if you don't have a bolster, why don't you pause the video and go and get some pillows for yourself. Make sure you've got a blanket and some pillows at the very least. If you want to change into something more comfortable, then by all means do that as well. Let's treat ourselves with loving kindness. Once you have all of those things assembled and you've come down into your comfortable seat, let's sit up nice and tall, lengthen through the back of the neck, lengthen through the spine. Take a deep breath in. And you know what to do. Relax those shoulders away from the ears. Come into this moment. Come into the now. Allow the dust to settle. Let's set some intention for some healing to take place, for some emotion, some sorrow to move, and create space for more, for joy, for laughter, for creativity, for expansiveness within the being. So close your eyes, settle into this moment, really feel your sits bones underneath you connecting with the floor, connecting with the earth. Feel the earth rising up to greet you. Tune into that energy of the earth, that selfdom that is earth. She is our mother. She is our home. She wants us to thrive. She wants us to be whole. And she is endlessly present for us, even though we as humanity tend to abuse her, tend to ignore her, tend to treat her as a commodity. So feel that presence of the earth. Feel that like unconditional love rising up to greet you, to support you, to be there for you, to lift you up. Maybe think of your favorite place out in nature, whether it's a beach or it's a tree that you go and sit next to, whether there's a lake or a trail. Think of that space that brings you a sense of harmony and a sense of home and a sense of peace. And bring that into your being. Allow yourself to bring that presence into your room, into your selfdom, into your bones. Breathe into it. Allow yourself to elongate your inhales and elongate your exhales, listening to the sound of your breath. Now you've created safe space around you and in you. You're feeling the support of the earth. You're feeling the support of your favorite space out in nature. Now let's access your source self. So allow yourself to go inward. Come to the core of your being. Imagine the nice long line of the Sushumna that runs up and down the spine through the chakras. Just allow yourself to feel that within you. And feel the connection that it has, the never-ending tendrils that reach up out of the crown and reach down into the earth. And how those tendrils are connected to all of self. So your connection with all of self and with your divine beingness. However that looks to you, whatever it looks like, find your connection to your source. Even if it's just in your imagination. Allow yourself at least the opportunity to be open to the idea of being connected to your source, your spirit, your higher self. Bringing that fully present into the body. Now, as you are, as a divine beingness, you are whole. There are no gapped parts of self like there are in the human body that have been put aside, that have been damaged, that have been maybe felt like they were broken, felt like they were abandoned. So we have this whole self that walks in the body and is experimenting with being human and has come into this world and housed a body, and it knows nothing of being gapped or being separate. And then there's the body. So come into your body knowing that your full self is present. You have the full support of the earth. So your wholeness is present here with you. And that wholeness is exploring with you into the body and seeking out the places that have sorrow. So allow yourself to bubble up, to reconnect with those places that do house sorrow. They rise up from the root chakra, from the sacral chakra, like ghosts. They can or mist, come up out of those dark places and remind you that they are there, touching in onto the heart and allowing the heart to remember, yes, that is part of me. That sorrow is part of me. The loss of that person, does it make my heart feel heavy? That pain that I experienced in the past, oh, it just makes me want to curl up into a ball and cry. Allow those things to surface, whatever they are, bubbling up. You're in safe space. You've created safe space for yourself. The earth is supporting you. Your source self is supporting you. So let them be supportive and let them hold those places of sorrow for you. Let them hold those places of sorrow in their tender, loving, never-ending, unconditional, loving arms. Allow that to rise, rise, rise. Be present within you. Now this sorrow may be sorrow also from bigger things that you don't know, you're not cognizant of every day, but you do feel it underneath. So those bigger things could be when you walk down the street and you see a homeless person and you feel sorrow for their state, for the fact that they're there. That sorrow could come from the state of our world and our environment and our impact on this planet and a sense of hopelessness. Allow yourself to feel it. Allow yourself to sit with it, to lean into it, to let it drape over the body, to let that feeling, that energetic presence that sorrow is, to permeate into all of the cells of the body. Let it take over. Let it be what it is. Knowing that we're going to love it home. We're going to give it compassion. We're going to allow it to transmute and come into wholeness. So when we release sorrow and we allow it to move, we release ourselves from setback that has been created by holding on to traumatic events. We hold on to it and yet we shove it away. We don't want to let go of it because we might forget about it. We might forget about that person. We might forget how much harm we were caused in this situation. We might forget to have compassion for that homeless person or to engage with action and in healing the world in general. But holding on to those things, holding on to that sorrow has kept us trapped, has kept us stuck in a certain place, kept us stagnant. And we haven't been able to move forward from that. So we're going to allow those things to move today. Hopefully you're now starting to feel into your body. Find some nice soft movements, maybe swaying, maybe making circles with the torso. Let's take some deep breaths in. So take a deep breath in. Exhale, sigh it out. Try moving the torso. Inhale in. Exhale out. Let it go, let it go, let it go. Inhale in. Exhale out. Keep breathing. Keep listening to the sound of your breath. And as you move, we'll gently shift. Coming off of our blanket, slowly maneuvering the body. Coming around on our mat or on our floor. We'll gently move our blanket out of the way. Actually, I'm going to lay my blanket out. I'm going to open it up. I'm going to give myself a little bit more compassion and love. I'm going to utilize my blanket so that I'm nice and comfortable and feeling safe. I'm going to come to my knees, bringing my big toes to touch, opening my knees as wide as the yoga mat. And then crawling my fingers forward. And as I do so, I'm going to allow that sorrow to move up from my center, up from my root chakra, move all the way up to my heart, up through my throat, and allow it to move out through the crown, spill out onto the earth. If you're allowing tears to move, allow those tears to really spill onto the earth. Allow the forehead and the heart to melt down to your blanket or your mat. Keep breathing nice and deep. Allow whatever emotion is coming up, whatever feelings of sorrow, past events, to really move in the body. So don't stay static in this pose. Maybe you rock the hips side to side. Maybe you come up onto the elbows and then make a circle back, making wide circles with the hips and the torso. Oh, allow yourself to move. Allow yourself to feel. Give your sorrow to the earth and to the universe. Allow it to spill over. Breathe nice and deep. Make sound. Let it go, let it go, let it go, let it go, let it go. Let it spill, 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 spill out onto the earth. You don't have to hold on to it anymore. Let it release from your body. You don't need to process it. You don't need to analyze it. You don't need to justify it. There's no one you're trying to prove anything to, much less yourself. Let yourself be. Let that sorrow spill onto the earth. Eventually find some stillness with the forehead coming to the mat, the heart melting down. Even if this is all just symbolic and you're not actually being able to access the emotion right now, going through the emotions, going through the symbolism and the action, the intention of allowing the sorrow to move means everything. It is work. It is the shadow work that needs to be done. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, melt a little bit more. Let something go, make some noise. Deep breath in. Exhale, side out. Let it go, let it go, let it go, let it go. One more time, deep breath in. Exhale, let it go. Beautiful. On your next inhale, slowly rise back up, coming to an all fours position. We'll slowly move the feet to one side, any side. Come back onto our seat. Move nice and slow. Keep the eyes closed if you can. Allow yourself to shift. Move your blanket out of the way, unless you want to keep it underneath you, but I invite you to move the blanket out of the way now. Bring your pillows into play, or your bolster. So we'll bring the bolster so that it can come under the knees. We'll shift ourselves so that the legs can drape over the pillows or the bolster. And then we'll allow ourselves to come down onto our backs, and perhaps we bring our blanket and drape it over ourselves. Lying completely down on our backs, resting the hands on the belly. Your blanket is draped over you. Maybe you've got another pillow under your head. And allow the back of the heart chakra to completely melt into the mat. Now allow yourself to find some stillness. Whatever came up for you, whatever you're processing, allow it to melt away. filter through the body. Try not to analyze it, just allow yourself to feel if there's new space created. How does the body feel now? As you allow yourself to relax in this position and simply feel where your energy is at now, I invite you to repeat the following mantra quietly to yourself. Arul Karunai Daya. Arul Karunai Daya. Arul Karunai Daya. This mantra opens you to loving kindness and empathy. I open myself to loving kindness and empathy. Arul Karunai Daya. Arul Karunai Daya. Now I invite you to stay here for as long as possible, allowing yourself to feel, to ruminate in and through the body, to release sorrow that has been held for a long time, to release any places of tension within the body, allowing each part of you that is touching the ground to melt into the earth just a little bit more. And intend to release yourself from the karmic debt of holding on to that sorrow that may not be serving you anymore, that may now be keeping you stuck and stagnant. In the days to come, expect that sorrow will move. So if you did not feel anything during this actual meditation, the symbolism of going through the actions will signal the body that you are allowing for space for those feelings, those emotions to move. So I encourage you, when the emotion arises, when the sorrow arises, whether it hits you at 2 o'clock in the morning or whether it hits you midday when you're at work, that you create space to actually allow it to shift and to move, to actually feel it. Don't try not to stuff it down. Ask yourself questions. Where is this coming from? What do I need in this moment to allow it to move and to heal and transform? Thank you for joining me for this practice, my dear beloveds. I hope that it serves you well. I hope that you are able to move and transform sorrow that you've been carrying around for a long time. I would love to hear your process, hear what you're feeling and going through, if you would like to comment below the video. Let's take a deep breath in. And on the exhale, we'll bring palms together at the heart. Anjali Mudra. The light in me honors, cherishes, and is in awe of the light in you. Namaste.